I've been doing weighted dips for almost 3 years, and I went from a 20 kilogram dip to a 115 kilogram dip, or 4 dips with 100 kilograms, which is my latest accomplishment. And all of this at the age of just 16 years old and the body weight of 66 kilograms. But the most important thing is that I never got injured, because having correct technique is the most important thing you can do to prevent injury. So in today's video, I'm going to show you step by step, start to finish, the perfect dip technique. And the valuable pieces of advice I'm going to give you are the secrets I learned over 3 years. And on top of that, I'm going to share you the best tips for weighted dips that are used by the best weighted dippers in the world, and also by me, and why my weighted dips are way better than anybody else's. The first thing we are going to talk about is the actual setup, because if you are not getting into the dip correctly, you just can't perform the dip with proper technique. Most people, what they do, the first mistake is that they don't have like a stool or just something to stand on before getting into the dip. So they just try to jump up and think that they will get into the correct posture. So the correct posture for dips is that you grab the bar and you almost do this. I can't explain it, you get like a little bit of a hunch. So you go, grab it, and slowly get there. And if you are doing the dips weighted, slowly lower the weight and get it into the center of your balance. So it looks something like this. That's the correct setup. And also one thing you should be cautious of is that your setup doesn't look like this. See the difference? This is weak posture. The dip is just going to look really bad. And this is the correct posture. That brings us to the second step, which is strong shoulders. When you are going up and down during dip, this is what you shouldn't do. So you get into the correct position, but you mess up by doing this. This is called weak shoulders. Your shoulders move down, up, forward, backward, and they are not stable. You should always keep them in one position. What always helps me is focusing on almost flexing all of the muscles of the shoulder and going slowly, like this. So you try to keep the shoulder steady at the same point that you had it before starting the actual movement. Now the mistake that you can do with strong shoulders is having stiff shoulders. This was used to happening to one of my friends. His shoulders used to go all over the place, and I told him, strong shoulders, keep them in one place. And do you know what he started doing? Dips like this. Like his shoulder didn't even move. If you do dips like this can cause shoulder injury because your shoulder isn't used to doing the full range of motion, going really deep and up. That's why you should always keep in check that your pelvis goes below the bar. This is also competition standard dip. So this isn't a competition standard dip, but this is. Now number 4. This is kinda controversial, but I need to address this. This is dip depth. There is a difference between hitting 90 degrees as a gym lift and 90 degrees as a competition standard. 90 degrees gym lift looks like this. Can you spot it? You hit 90 degrees over here, but your shoulder and elbow isn't parallel to the dip bar. So the depth that you should at least get is that your shoulder and elbow are parallel to the dip bar, like this. At least. If you go deeper, that's okay. When I do weighted dips, I never go easy on depth. I always, even on the 115 kilogram dip, I hit depth. Because the deeper you go, the better stretch you get on your pecs and front delts, and the more you are actually going to grow. So there is actually nothing wrong with doing your weighted dips or dips like this. Now the next thing to keep in mind is to keep your elbows close together and to not flare them out. If you do dips like this, where you go down, go up, and you flare your elbows to the side, this was my personal challenge, and this caused me to have so much like collarbone, I think this is called a collarbone pain, because I was literally squishing myself together. I went down and up and my shoulders were compressing, and it caused quite a lot of pain the day after doing weighted dips. That's why I recommend you keep in mind squeezing your elbows together and not flaring them out past the dip bar, like this. And from the back, it looks like this. Now the next mistake that can actually cause you some serious injury is bending and crossing your legs. First, you may think it is normal because in the gym you see people doing weighted dips like this. But what this causes when you are going to failure or with larger weight, look at it. You go down, you go up and you are grinding. You first try to swing your feet backwards like this. Plus, you notice when you are really grinding on a rep, you try to squeeze every single other muscle. For example, on the bench press, you squeeze your ass. On the weighted pull-ups, you, for example, squeeze your quads or your hamstrings or your calves. This is the exact same thing that happens, but when you have cross legs, you start pressing them into each other. And this can cause some crazy imbalances. I had one guy in my home gym that was doing this, and his dips, he literally went down with both of his shoulders in the correct way, and then he showed up with one shoulder going further ahead than the other. So the correct feet placement for doing dips and weighted dips that also gives you strength is like this. Straight down, and when you want to squeeze something, you squeeze the plate together like this with your heels. And when you go down, you make sure that you don't swing backward, but what you do is that you flex your abs and lean forward just a little bit, like this. Now the last thing in terms of technique is not rocking your head back and forth. I don't know why people do this. They probably think it gives them more range of motion. They do weighted dips like this. Like, what are you doing? You are sucking a huge cock, you go down like, and up and down. You shouldn't do this, it looks gay. And also when you do this, even just a little bit down and up, it can cause neck pain the day after. And the worst thing that happened to me like 3 times, that your neck literally gets stuck and you can't turn it to one side for like a day or 2. It can get that bad. Like you go down, go up, and you just feel something not really good. You finish the dips and it hurts your entire back and like the right side of your neck, and you can't twist it to one side at all. So what I recommend you do is that you focus on just one point on the wall, or if you have a mirror in front of you, which is a really good tip that I use to make sure that I hit depth, is that you just look at your shoulders, how deep they are. Or if you are looking just at the wall, just look at one point, like over here. When you go down, continue looking at it. So your head moves just a little bit. Now, here are the professional tips for the next weighted calisthenics champions. The first one is going to be joint stacking. That means whilst being in the movement stationary like this and also moving through the dip, you try to have all of your joints in one single line, like over here. So I mentioned it, you don't move your elbows out or to inward. And also whilst doing the movement, you keep them close to each other. So you don't do dips like this, where you move your shoulders out too much and your elbows like forward or back too much. You try to keep your elbow a bit further back, so your shoulder doesn't need to go that much forward, and those two joints can stay within like 20 centimeters next to each other. And that gives you way more power. The next one is going to be bouncing through the 90 degrees. This is really good if you have some depth issues, is that you go down to around 100 degrees elbow depth, which isn't like the parallel, but it is like this. And then you just bounce through the 90 degrees. So you keep your elbow, so your pelvis still keeps going down, like this. Your pelvis is going down. You hit the 100 degrees, about 100 degrees, and then you keep your pelvis at the same height, which is below the dip bars already, so it is a competition lift. And you just bounce through it, like this. You can see me do this almost every single time. I sit up, I go down, and then I bounce through the 90 degrees. Now the last one. This personally helped me a ton. This is weight shifting, how you shift the weight on the palm of your hand. Let me tell you how that works. When you go down, you try to keep about 80%, 70 to 80% of the weight on the front part of the palm, like this. This also improves joint stacking. And then when you hit depth and you start going up, you slowly start moving the mass a bit further back to your palm, almost over here at the end. So when we emphasize the movement, it will look something like this. I will also show it in quite slow motion. You go down, and you start moving the weight back, and that really helps your lockout. Because for me, the most difficult part of the dip is this portion over here, from here to here. And having the weight shifted back helps me lock it out. Because try this, shift the weight forward and try to lock out. It's going to be pretty tough because you are literally trying to lock out in an angle. That's like if you grab like a 5 kilogram dumbbell, it's going to be a lot harder to lock out over here than to lock out over here. But when you shift the weight back, your lockout looks something like this. You see that? I'm almost perfectly straight. So this was how to do dips correctly. And if you want to learn how to maximize your dip strength, check out this video right here where I break down my full 3-day per week step-by-step workout routine to get from a 20 kilogram dip to a 115 kilogram dip. Bye. So check that out. And if you are interested, in more content about calisthenics and strength gain, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out my Instagram. Bye.